guys, it's Sean O'Connell, the managing editor at CinemaBlend in Las Vegas for CinemaCon 2023, where we just came out of the Sony Entertainment panel, and as part of that, they showed us 13 new minutes from the animated sequel Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I want to be able to describe a lot of the stuff that we've shown because I'm not quite sure if they're going to release this footage in any way, shape, or form. However, I will say a lot of the scenes that we saw are in existing trailers from Across the Spider-Verse already. Stuff with Miles Morales and his mom, stuff with Miles Morales and Gwen, and then a few hints at the villain who's going to be the Spot, voiced by Jason Schwartzman, but we didn't get to see any of Miguel O'Hara, who we know is going to be a significant character in the sequel. So, what did we see? So it's Miles in his bedroom. He has been grounded by his parents. He's upset because he knows he's Spider-Man and he doesn't understand why he still has to be a teenager who's grounded in his room. The portal opens up and Gwen Stacy comes out of it.
Want to get out of here?
Now, they have said that Across the Spider-Verse is going to take place 1 year after the events of Into the Spider-Verse, but the scene that we saw is essentially the ending of Into the Spider-Verse, where Miles is in his bed, he's got his headphones on with his hands behind his head, and Gwen shows up. She drops down into his universe and starts to explain to him, as the two of them swing around the city, the things that she's been doing over the past year, which essentially has been hopping through the multiverse, working with an elite team of spider people to keep the multiverse from falling apart. She talks about Miguel O'Hara, who we know is going to be voiced by Oscar Isaac. She talks about Jessica Drew, who's the new Spider-Woman, who's going to be voiced by Issa Rae. And apparently all of these spider people are part of this small but elite strike force that Gwen Stacy is a part of, and Miles is a little bit jealous that he can't get invited to be part of that squad because he's waiting for Miguel to kind of recognize the things that he can bring there. There's a lot of stuff about Gwen and Miles and how their relationship is advancing, how Gwen doesn't feel like anyone else understands her except for Miles. And one really interesting thing that they talked about that I hope they dig deeper into over the course of the movie, which is that in all of the other multiverses, Gwen Stacy's character usually meets some type of tragic fate. And in her multiverse universe, she didn't, and her Peter Parker died instead, and she doesn't understand why that is the case. And I really hope that, like I said, her and Miles go down the road to sort of figuring out why that is and what kind of impact it has on her character. The second half of the footage that we saw was tied deeply to Miles and his mother, and it's a scene that we saw in one of the earlier trailers where the two of them are on a rooftop, and she's explaining to him how she understands that it is time for him to grow up, but it's really hard as a mom for her to watch her teenage son turn into a man. And it's kind of associated with the fact that she sees him with Gwen, and she has a couple of lines with Gwen where she says, you know, make sure you're taking care of him, don't break his heart, kind of thing. But you're seeing Miles evolve. He's becoming more of an adult. He's balancing his home life with being Spider-Man. We didn't get to see a lot of action. There wasn't a ton with the villains, but we did see Miles and Gwen swinging around the city, sort of testing each other to see how much they've advanced since the first film. And then, of course, just the animation has advanced since the first film in a way that I can't even describe. It's something you really have to see for yourself. It's very much the style from the first film, but you can see how much more polished it is, how much more confident the animators are. There's ways that they manipulate the city and the spider people's ability to kind of walk around buildings and show us viewpoints from completely different angles that are, again, unlike anything that I got to see in the first movie, and I think we're going to see a lot of it in this second one. For what they wanted to show here at CinemaCon, it was really to emphasize the fact that this is going to be an emotional journey, not just for Miles and not just for Gwen, but for the people that surround them. And that's part of the reason why I'm buying in heavy into this sequel, because I want to see more of that character development outside of just the action. I think we're going to get one more trailer for Across the Spider-Verse, but the movie's coming up really soon. It's going to be in theaters in June. Sony seems really bullish on it, which is why they brought 13 minutes to Las Vegas to show to people at CinemaCon. And once that movie drops, you know we're going to be reviewing it, going through all the Easter eggs, and diving into the fun stuff that you can see in the backgrounds and foregrounds of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, as it leads into also Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, meaning there are huge things on the horizon for everyone's favorite wall crawler.